What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple more tickers. And break down what's going on with the charts thus far and some very important levels to be watching for, what the news is saying about Tesla, what economic data is coming out for today, as I give you guys a pre-market update video. Before I break anything down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. So anyways, let's talk about what's going on with the markets. Right now, Tesla's kind of green in the pre-market, fighting some key resistance. We also have SPY kind of flat right now, and most of the market's either flat or even somewhat green. Apple's very flat right now. The QQQ is kind of flat, and Nvidia is kind of green, and most of the tickers out there are just, once again, kind of flat slash green. So we're going to be watching to see what happens, but let's first talk about some economic data. As a reminder, watch for some volatility today, 30 minutes after market open at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index, the Fed shipments data, and then the services data all coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. So this will give us a better gauge of the sectors. I have even more data coming out at 10:30 a.m. when it comes to the Fed Services Index and then the Services Revenues Index. So once again, kind of important stuff, at least when it comes to the Fed, understanding these different sectors. Not saying this is as big as something like a CPI or anything like that, but this data could cause some volatility. So look for some volatile price action at 10 o'clock a.m. and 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 30 minutes after market open and 1 hour after open as well. Besides that, we have an 11:30 a.m. 17-week bill auction, which is very minor. The rest of the data is very minor, nothing too crazy, but just be prepared for some price action because of that. Now, with that coming out, the S&P 500 is getting very close to those all-time highs. I believe it's going to get very close, if not break, to new all-time highs before we see something change. I think we're getting closer, and there's more upside potential thanks to that. We're seeing all-time highs being hyped up again and again. When it comes to AI, we're seeing a lot of Wall Street just talking about AI these days. We had some big winners out there. We have Nvidia, which is one of the biggest winner for the year when it comes to AI. And we also have other ones like AMD and many others like Cloudflare who are still surging as well because of all this AI excitement. This is going to likely continue into 2024 and for years and beyond. Apple's appealing to its import ban on its popular Apple watches following a complaint from the medical monitoring technology company. That is once again very, very important. They're still kind of like battling this out. This is why Apple's been underperforming because the import bans have hurt them quite a bit. But we'll see what happens at the courts. We'll be watching to see what happens in the Court of Appeals, if there are any new updates as well. Besides that, for 2024, many economists out there are still saying that there's a good chance, at least a 50% chance of a recession next year that's going to be mild. That's what most of them would use to describe it. The most mild recession ever is what they would say. We'll see about that. We'll see how mild it ends up being, and we'll see if we end up getting a true economic definition recession. Now, is it guaranteed? I can't make any promises, but I can tell you there's a very good chance of it, especially with the current interest rates. And we'll just have to stay strong and see what the data suggests as time goes on. But anyways, guys, that is still on the horizon, so just be careful, especially as months go by. But for now, we're not into 2024 yet, and the market is still ripping. I'll be talking about that in just a few minutes. The news is saying that Tesla has some good mojo in China, as we had some good numbers when it came to their insurance registrations. They were up over 20% just recently. On top of that, we're starting to see more positive developments as we're approaching the end of the year deliveries. Some good news for Tesla as it's getting more and more hype. And we're looking at one of the strongest Q4s ever in China for Tesla's history. So that's some very, very big news right now. We're seeing some good analysts out there, including like Ives. We also have, not to mention Piper Sandler, all coming out and giving us some bullish targets on Tesla. There's also some new news coming out. Tesla stock gets a boost from beyond an automaker's scenario. This is some big news as we're starting to see more hype about Tesla right now, being very important, at least for Wall Street. And there's also some other talk out there coming out about how Analysts are seeing a $380 price target for Tesla thanks to its automobile business alone. So that's some big news as well. Other factors could even grow that even more. That's good news for Tesla. And then finally, I saw more good news as analysts shared their Q4 2023 and 2024 predictions. Uh, Other companies out there are seeing a fourth quarter uh, report of over 473,000 deliveries with a total of 1.8 million for the year. I think that's very probable as well. I think Tesla tends to beat these expectations. And we're seeing a big increase in volume, most likely with a 37% increase, which is still pretty good news according to expectations. So, with that being said, many analysts out there are saying with the Cybertruck coming out, you're going to see exceptional growth for Tesla, and they're very, very bullish as a result of that. We're starting to see some more positive news. Other companies like Deutsche Bank are saying that Tesla's in a more like intermediate low growth period. So there are different views out there, but that's still great news nonetheless, especially with the next Gigafactory in Mexico coming out. Anyways, now let's talk about the charts. SPY is flat, market is flat for the most part. Tesla's kind of green. What do I see going on? This is very simple, guys, because one could argue that Tesla has we have a potential wedge forming right here. So don't worry about this yellow line. When I'm talking about the wedge, I'm referring to this. Basically, see how this wedge is forming, which tends to be like a bullish. So the chart looks bullish, uh, but we need to see this big test on Tesla. So basically, see the blue line right here. Do you guys see that? The blue line is where Tesla has rejected many times. We touched 258, rejected, got to 260, rejected, 258, rejected, 258, rejected. We're going to be watching, can Tesla try to break 258 to 260? Because if we manage to hold above this, 260 is going to be our next target. If that breaks, we have this yellow trend line to be watching for. A break above that, and this thing's going to be pushing for much higher levels. But for now, I would just say that Tesla is trying to hold up. Make sure you watch the support. Uh, we also have support right here at this 256 area. If that fails us, there's 254 and then 252 and then 250 as our supports. Now, what is Tesla likely going to do? It looks bullish right now. It's making higher highs and higher lows, pushing up nicely, but it has this tight resistance to watch for, guys. The question is, can Tesla try to hold this level? Can we try to break out to 258 plus to get to 260? Generally, during the first few hours of the day, Tesla tends to push. There's a good chance it's going to try to push higher. Let's see if we can break 258 and push for 260 plus. Now, that alone is not everything, though. If we do get to the 260s, let's see if we could close above 258 at the very least, and at least 260. If we achieve that, there's a good chance Tesla could get a very bullish breakout. We need to see that test today. We have a tendency of getting rejected at 258 on Tesla. You guys can see all these rejections on Tesla. So we'll see if this time it happens again, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like it's trying to fight. It's pushing nicely. Let's hope Tesla gets to break, and let's just see if we could get that nice test. So I am leaning bullish on Tesla. I think it's going to try to break out, but just to be safe, be warned that historically we do tend to get rejected between 258 and 260. So just be careful here. If you want to be really bullish, let's see if we could close above 260 or at least 258 at the very least. If we achieve that, there's going to be more potential for Tesla. It tends to push when we open, so look for a push at open, and let's see if we could close above these levels. If we break 260, watch this yellow trend, excuse me, this yellow trend line right here as our resistance, very close to this 261 area. If that breaks, we have 262.5 and 264 coming. So I believe in Tesla. I think it's going to try to push, but just to be safe, make sure you watch your levels. On SPY, I think SPY is bullish overall as it's making higher highs and higher lows. But as a reminder, guys, even if we do end up breaking below our wedge, that does not necessarily make us like super bearish. You need two things to happen. If you're bearish, you want to see this thing make a lower high and then break out. You need a change in market structure. Making a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. It's bullish overall. It's still bullish. If you want to turn bearish, you need to see it switch directions. And this goes for Tesla. This goes for Nvda, the QQQ, and all the tickers out there. So far, we don't have that, so I just want to clarify the chart is still bullish. Okay, so we're holding this trend line. We're going to be watching for a very important test on SPY. Can we hold 476? If we hold 476 throughout the day, the next target is going to be 478. We could easily push to 478 if we manage to break 476. That's going to be the key resistance. For support, make sure you watch 475 because that's where our breakout was, the previous resistance becoming support. If that fails us, we have support at 473.8 to 474. If we lose 473.8, it's going to come down to fill the gap into like the very low 473s and turn a little bearish. As of right now, it hasn't done that, and it's just kind of like testing 476. There's a good chance it might kind of like chop a bit and try to break 476 later. If we close above it, I'm going to be looking for a push for at least 478 very soon. The chart looks bullish overall. I favor the bulls, but just to be safe, make sure you watch your levels. On the QQQ, watch 411 as our resistance 411.5. If that breaks, there's 412 coming next, and we have 412.5 and 413. For support, make sure you watch 410.6. If that fails us, then we have 410. Then we have 409 below that, and then followed by 408. So we have 408. If we lose 409, we're going to fill the gap down there. In my opinion, it's still looking bullish, though. We're making higher highs and higher lows. Uh, in order for us to turn bearish, we need to see this thing close below like 409. So we're still well above that, and we're still holding up nicely. Watch the support as well. This 410, that's where this like breakout area was. So if we do get a little retracement, see if we could bounce and start pushing up higher. Chart looks bullish, so I think 412 is definitely on the cards, and I think that overall it favors the bulls a bit more. Nvda is going to help the QQQ because, in my opinion, it has potential to push higher. You can see it's uptrending, making higher highs and higher lows. 497 to 4 not 497 497 to 500 is going to be our target on Nvidia. It could push higher. If you want to turn bearish, make sure you watch support at 492, 490, and 488. If we close below 488, we're going to turn bearish. So I think it has potential to push up higher. Make sure you watch it. Get very close to this 500 area. It definitely can uptrend more, and I think it has potential to do so. But just to be safe, guys, I just want to mention that Nvidia, it looks bullish overall. It looks bullish. It does favor the upside. Make sure you're prepared and you watch your levels. It still favors another push to those imbalances up there. And then finally, for Apple, it's going to be the last one I talk about for today, at least not today, but for this update video. You could argue we have like a falling wedge that's forming on it, but hasn't broken out yet. It's trying to base around 192.5 or so with all the negative news coming out. If we get a bullish break and we get above 193.5, that's when you could actually see a potential shift in market structure. If we start uptrending slowly, we could see this thing push back up to 194.4, but it hasn't broken out yet. There's no official breakout yet. We're going to be watching this like 192 range of support. It's trying to base around there. So watch 193.5 and 194.4 as some key resistance levels, not to mention this trend line right here. And we'll see if Apple could break or not. We technically have a bullish structure developing. The falling wedge may lead to more upside, but there's no sign of it breaking out yet. So we'll just have to be patient and wait. Anyways, that's it for this video. Make sure you watch your levels and do what you have to do. I hope this was helpful. Have a great pre-market, guys. Have a great trading day. We'll see how things go, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you and peace out.